Here's another big yard update. Did one last year in July. This one's early September. This one's on a hill. It's not a very good spot for a sable miner because it washes away. So anytime I get seeds that don't germinate on the heat mat and bags, I just put it around the roots, as you can see. Those are castor beans that didn't germinate. But this thing's grown. Just grows pretty slow, but it's still staying alive. Got some longleaf pines right there. More longleaf pines. They do like the sun. The ones closer to the sun look better. Got a yucca right there under there. It's on the top of the screen. Have another longleaf pine. If it died, I think I burn it around it to see if it would encourage anything. I don't think so, but maybe it'll. I broke the top off. Maybe it'll push some growth out. Who knows? Agave at the top got real damaged by the 8 degrees, but it's coming back. Spanish dagger yucca alifolia. They don't like the hard clay as much. Using a lot shorter and slower growing. See the clay. Also got a variegated filamentosa right there. Right here you can see this one, the top came off, and right at the base of it got a little small one coming up, so that's good. You can see the variegated yucca filamentosa. Some more. So I'm gonna put a couple more around this tree, but they like the sandy or regular dirt better. But yeah, yuccas are looking good. Big limb came down. This is a new one I put in. That's a new one. This one's a new one. This is a new little yucca I think is coming up at the bottom right there with that bluish color leaf, which is kind of odd. I think that one in the top right there might be new. I put in new ones, I can dig them up. Those two right there are new. That one there sprouted up, so it's not new. But the neighbor actually has a ton of yucca. It's way bigger than this, and we asked him if we could get some, and they said that we could take as many that we want. But I got a couple in pots, but I'll plant around here. I got around 4 or 5. So let me show y'all some other stuff. Here's a spot where we burnt some logs, and it really affected these tulip poplars. They're still alive, but I do not know if this is going to end up killing them. This one was cut down, unrelated to this. A big tree we cut down right there at the top fell on it, so we just ended up cutting this one down. But I got some, I think there's a cosmos coming up. They're Mexican things, Mexican type of flower. They put them in wildflower mixes, but they're not native. Alright, you can see how that affected that. I thought I'd video that. Here's an apple tree. Some new growth. Top growth right there. Also got some updates on this. This is the Mexican fan. This spot was kind of messed up for a little while. This is the only one I've kind of had that starts growing here. I grew this one from seed, but it's looking pretty good. Definitely doing better than the previous ones. Leland cypress, very cheap one. You can get them at $8. I had it was like at least twice as small, if not smaller. Maybe I'll this over here. This thing practically died and it's coming back, so that's nice. Teko no Gawa. Don't think those get huge. I mean, stuff in this spot grows pretty slow anyways. I got a regular blood maple. In comparison, this one was here planted around 2014-15. It was about 2 foot, but it is going to have some nice shape to it. And over here, got a live oak tree put here. It's looking pretty good. A little dead leaf right there, but live oak. got some new growth on it too. So yeah, this is live oak. Hopefully it'll look good whenever it starts to get big. And here's the lamb's ears. These are separated. Those are some pretty flowers that come up right there. But we separated these and they're all coming up. The petunia coming up right there. That's the wave, I think. Some black-eyed Susans right there. Sagos are looking good. New growth on this one. This one's even got new growth. Zoom in on it. New growth. This one right here don't. Looking great after that cold snap back earlier in the year, or last year. But these smaller ones are the most common sold size. They sell them as house plants. So, but I think I bought that one as a house plant. So, and I've had that for like, I planted 2016. This is the only year I think I've had it put a second set out in the same year. These are pretty cold hardy, and I got the Folifera, getting some good sized fronds on it. It's starting to actually fill out now. These things do not seem to like the winters here too much though. The older fronds kind of die, and the older fronds are going to die off, especially those two. Had it outside partially last year in a pot, not when it was freezing cold, but seemed to do the best, but it was really need to go in the ground. But not a fan of the winters because it's cold. It's not. It's like just chilly and wet, basically. And I got a windmill. These things do all right in the winter. This one's put out 7 fronds, technically 8, but the 8th one looked horrible. It was barely any green on it. It was just like a petiole with no frond. So it's doing really good this year. And elephant ears are massive, the biggest they've ever been in this spot. Absolutely doing great. The yucca's doing good. This thing is the only thing in this little spot. It's not doing too good. It's still growing. Some Mexican fan palm from seed. I'm not planning on protecting it if it's going to grow like this. It's not worth it. But maybe maybe some overhead protection might protect it. Who knows? Here's a pup I separated, Musa Baju. And I fill up some buckets or anything. The water flows down from here and waters it. So it got whacked by the weed eater, but it's completely back to normal now. So that's looking pretty good. Some small castor beans that haven't done too much. This one looks the best, but not even a foot tall. So this isn't a very good spot for them, but they still look pretty cool. Here's a mountain hemlock. Did pretty good, especially in this climate. It's handled it pretty good. It has a lot of protection overhead from probably a lot of heat, so it's always shaded. But looking pretty good. It put a little bit of growth out, but it's just really, really slow. Really slow growing. So it'll be in this pot for a long time. But still pretty cool. Put many ornaments on it. Looks like a small Christmas tree. Got a lemon tree here. It's my grandma's lemon tree. I got a Cordyline red star, which the other video showed that it somehow survived. Avocado plants. Majesty spear pool. Maybe I'm waiting. Maybe it'll put a new one out. Mexican fan palm from seed. It's really needing a new pot. Let's put a couple fronds out in this spot. It's got a lot of overhead shade. Brujero Mata. Still starting to get some mature fronds, silver color. I'm gonna plant that. Some other land I got. It's a little bit warmer. 2 Baju pups. Put them in this pot. They really take off. even if they are more broadleaf, the broadleaf pups. Because I've heard they grow slower, and they do seem to grow slower than the sword suckers. They got more thin, smaller leaves. These are really broad, but they're still growing. Flamethrower palms, putting a new frond out. I'm thinking it'll grow and open up by the end of this year. They got the spider plants. They're looking really good. Basically, it looks like this the whole way. And something yesterday bit off the top of this rainbow eucalyptus, which sucks. But I'm expecting it'll just put some growth out, continue growing. The tape really did help it though, because it was bent and a lot smaller, and it really gotten a lot wider. But it should recover. Might stick it in the greenhouse just to protect it from getting bit. More spider plants. And the Mexican fan palm right there has put about 3 fronds out. Maybe 4. It's looking good. If it gets below 20, I'll protect it. But I think they're a lot tougher than what people rate the cardiness on them. They can survive pretty cold temperatures. But I'll protect it under 20 just because it's growing good. Louisiana right there, and a miner, sable miner. And at the top of the screen is another Mexican fan. And we go here. We got a Galifolia, a couple of these. These are some of the ones in pots. I'm going to plant one at my school. It's a little project. I'm going to put one in. I might put this saw palmetto in too, since it's right up against the building. These are from Sable King, Bermudana, and Braziliensis. So they're looking good. Regular silver saw, couldn't think of it. Not bad for these. Paid around 50 for both. These are about 20 each with tax, 50. So not bad. Bonanza peach, doing this thing. It's always small. Coming around this way, got the Mexican fans. Looking good after I repotted them, but probably already need to be putting something larger. They've put about 2 fronds each since they've been in these pots. They're working on their second. Got a live oak right here, which I'm going to probably find a spot for. I got 2 smaller ones. These are just hidden in the grass right here. And a bunch of more Mexican fan palms. A Majesty right there. Coconut. This one actually grows about the same in my grow room, if y'all remember, because it's constantly getting light, while out here it's getting sun and night. So it's not getting that constant, even though it's hotter, which I thought was interesting. I thought it'd grow way faster out here, but still growing healthy. But it does grow about the same rate. Maybe a little faster out here, but thought that was interesting. Mexican fan palm. This will be in this pot for a while. It's looking good. Posdiarum, looking good. Got some of these weeping willows. I was trimming it up and just like to save them and grow them. And the white spruce, looking good. Need to weed them out, put them in larger pots. Some windmills I've repotted. Actually got another windmill. Might give it to my uncle up in Tennessee because he's coming down. I'm gonna go to Orlando. Make sure to make some videos. But potted one of them up in there for him. He protected his, and his ended up surviving. And it got really cold there. It was on top of the mountain. Carolina Reapers. You can see them. Really very, very, very hot. Ate a little bit of one that burnt my mouth for pretty bad. Got some peppers and the tomatoes. Cucumbers were a little bit of a flop. I'm not sure what happened with those. More windmills. Just potted some up. If you want, he'll take them all 3 of those, I'll let him. I actually encourage him to take more. I got so many, I want to free up some space. Got the Folifera looking good. Then this frond so you can see the new one. Caterpillar was eating on it. 3 other Foliferas. Paulownia, small one. Redwood trees. These things blow up, so if I put these in the ground next year, they'll probably be 4 foot. Nah, maybe a little shorter, maybe 3.5, but they'll be really high. Got some Japanese maples and castor beans. This was a Abies lasiocarpa subalpine fir. Did not like the climate. If you're in a humid climate, if it gets hot, don't grow them. I don't think it's the humidity, I think it's just how hot it gets. Plus that, I was thinking in wintertime they can handle some. Tuning into this is the redwood. Get some of that glare off the screen. Absolutely blowing up. This is about 4 foot now, 4.5 foot. It's absolutely crazy. When I planted it, it was down there. So very, very, very fast. Windmill from seed. Looking good, growing a little bit. This thing is absolutely insane too. This thing gets a semi-woody trunk. So, very interesting. This is castor bean. Man, the last video I made, I'm just realizing it was down there kinda, and now it's up to almost my level, which is insane. I'm uphill from it too, so this thing's even more than 5.5 foot, so that's crazy. Wondering how the winter will affect it. I'm not protecting it. From downhill, it's over taller than me. Let's see, I've read a couple sources saying different cold hardiness is on them. So a larger look at it. Definitely interesting in how the cold will blast it. If we have an extremely mild winter, it may survive, because we've had one winter which got down to 25, and that is debatable on if it could survive that, but I'm highly doubting it will survive any of these winters. Sago looking nice. I'm gonna plant that somewhere. Paulownia, it's a larger one. I do not know what to do with these. These are an invasive one. I wasn't growing any Longata or any of the other ones. This is tomentosa. So I have no idea what I'm gonna do with that. Probably just keep it or make a bonsai out of it. Another yucca folia. I forgot to video these ones. Video's getting pretty long, but it's an everything update. So gotta make you. So here's a sable palmetto. Should put this frond out by the end of September and another by the rest of the year. But I did pretty good. So it's looking good. Sable miner's looking really good. Zoom out all the way. But this is what it looks like in a normal camera. Seeds. These seeds got chopped off by a lawnmower. This one's got some seeds on it. This is pretty hard ground. It's full of roots because there used to be a line of trees in this exact spot. There's 2 of them planted next to each other. And this one's with seeds. So let me keep going. We got the Mexican fan palm. I want to show y'all. Quite a nice Spanish dagger right here. We'll make some offspring. Here, Mexican fan palm. I don't water these. Have a ton of overhead protection. and a Mediterranean fan, both from seed. Walk down the hill, we got some castor beans against the wall right here, fence. This one's the biggest, 3.5 foot. I'll hold it, see? So, got a couple of them. Here's a Musa Baju. This is a sword sucker, example of one. Yeah, pretty cool banana tree. This area stays pretty dry, so I have to water this and it doesn't grow as big. They're looking pretty good. Some pindos. There's a Mediterranean fan right here. All new growth since the cold. One of the trunks died, so the other one took over. This sago is actually doing really good. Growing real good and fast. This one's completely new growth. Since it was defoliated, not by any cold, but by some animals. Ate the whole thing into a spear. So it's looking good. I moved this one from another side of the yard. It's looking good. And just planted this one right, it was before the freeze. So all was okay after the freeze. Here's a mule palm. It's looking pretty good. Some nice ones down in Panama City Beach. Very, very cool. So I've bought one. So here's this one's 3rd year. This is Pindo. There's a butterfly in it. Some butterflies, 2 butterflies, but Pindo. It's doing real good this year. Put a bunch of fronds out. Got a large trunk on it too. Here's a Majesty. Had to dig it up and put it up, which might set it back a ton this winter, but it was sinking down way too low and the trunk was buried. So marked it with a knife. You can kind of see where I marked it and where it is now after I planted. So I dug it up and put it in here, so it's still growing. Got food in the house, so I want to hurry up this update. Palmetto looking good. Made a little barrier of dirt around it so it hold in some water, but it's growing. See where I marked it? The bottom and the top. So this thing grew pretty slow, probably from shock and some other stuff. But maybe it'll start growing good in the next year. Cosy arms growing. Needle palm. Looking good. Sable miners all right here. That one, this one, those 4 right there are seed grown. I'm not sure the ecotype where they're from, but they're seed grown sable miner. Probably the Florida, Georgia. It's just a Florida, Georgia one. Some seeds on it. So this is an Ohio one from Ohio. 2 of them in the one. It's a singular one. Oh, and this is another seed grown one. A little windmill I put in as a seed one. Thought this is Louisiana. I'm not sure if it is or not, but you'll see it's growing really slow. Put it there. 2018. This is Cosy Arm. New spear. Hopefully I got that. here's a look at the bananas. So Thai black, not doing too much. So this is a pup. This was all wet and frozen, so this is coming back from 8 degrees. Still it's looking pretty good. That one's new. This one's top leaf. All the way to the top is about 15, 16 foot. Base is big. Insecta Super Bum's looking really good. These things are leaning just for a little sunlight, but seems they're okay with leaning. Because I haven't ever had any trouble with the trunks leaning to the point of if they break or not. It's the size of the leaf. I cut them off and I just toss them in. Mekong Giant, not doing too much. I'm gonna probably dig it up and put it in the greenhouse, plant it next year. When I dig this up, put it in the greenhouse, overwinter it. This is ice cream. It's actually doing pretty good, especially after it started hitting that black cow. You know, super dwarf. Pretty big Baju. These are all Baju. So they're looking pretty good. And these are all elephant ears. So they lean over when they're starting to get dehydrated. That one right there, though, one of the pindos over there, I bought a guy at the gas station, and he gave me this for buying the pindo. He gave it to me for free, and it does seem to handle the dryness way better. So it's a little update on everything. I still make a greenhouse one too, but for a 27-minute video, so I'll show you all that.